What's going on, guys? We'll be breaking down UFC 302 today. My bad for no video last week and a little late on the upload this week. I was traveling a bit, just got back, and honestly, the last 36 hours have been pretty crazy for me. I've been doing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of work to get done, and really haven't slept that much. But enough talk there, man. Let's get right into this card. We'll be in attendance on a Saturday, so pretty excited for this one, man. Not like the biggest card in terms of like ranked fighters, but these matchups are like pretty interesting, and I think we have some like pretty fun fights. So first fight of the night is Andre Lima and Mitch Raposo. I have a decent sized bet on Andre Lima here. Got in, what was it, 2.4 units on minus 221, and then I did just play some round 2 round 3 sub plus 2500 plus 3500, just like small sprinkles. Like I think it was 0.14 units there in total on the sub props. But overall, man, I think this is kind of like a levels fight. I don't think Raposo, I mean, yes, he looks okay on the feet. I just don't love how like willing he is to fight off the back foot. I think Lima is going to walk forward, be able to land the cleaner shots. I don't think he's a more technical striker, have a better volume here on the feet. And then for Mitch, I mean, yeah, there's a possibility he can get some offensive wrestling going. I just don't really rate his BJJ. I think Lima will either be able to get up or just, we saw it against Igor Severino. Like, he will go for front chokes. He does go for a guillotine. Lima doesn't have any career submissions, but this guy is pretty capable, man. I do think, this is short notice as well for Mitch, and he is someone that is going to be, if he's struggling on the feet here, I could see him shooting a lot and maybe panic shooting late. So at the number, even plus 800 submission, like I like that as well. Haven't gotten that, just did the round 2, round 3, so thought the numbers were off there compared to like bet online numbers. But overall, man, I'm not going to go like too deep here. I just think Lima has him covered pretty much everywhere. I played this as in minus like 221. I thought it was around 75%-ish. So we're almost there. We're like minus 260, minus 270 now. I think it's a solid parlay piece. I mean, look, I know Lima's last performance wasn't the greatest, but I rate Igor Severino a lot more. And then you add in the short notice factor for Mitch. And honestly, just 5'5", not the biggest guy even for flyweight. So give me Andre Lima here. Next fight up is Perez and Jocelyn Edwards. I'm having a hard time with this fight. I really don't want to do any more tape on it, but I think it's like dog or pass. But I just don't love. Look, if Jocelyn Edwards gets taken down here, which he probably does in round 1, I have a hard time. She may not. She may be down the entire round. Like, Jocelyn Edwards has the worst get-ups like imaginable. They're really brutal. And I know she's like gonna be a lot more athletic girl in there. I just think maybe like a live entry would be better, because like right now pre-fight, I'm gonna lay plus 160, but if Perez gets one takedown, this line could be like plus 250, even plus 300 if she, controls her the entire round. So right now it's just a pass for me, but I lean dog or pass here. Next fight up, we got Basil Hafez and Mickey Gall. So I do have a bit of money down on Hafez here. At first glance, I didn't really think I was going to love this spot. I mean, Basil Hafez, split decision loss to JDM, was a great performance, but how much of that also was JDM just making bad mistakes, poor fight IQ in there, pulling the guillotines, giving Hafez opportunities to win minutes there. I do think Hafez has a chin, and overall on the feet, neither guy is that great defensively. I mean, technically, I don't love Basil's striking, but he's a good bull, man. He's kind of an ape. He has big power with his shots, and we see Mickey Gall's durability and defense is lacking. I don't love, 2-year layoff for Mickey coming off. I'm hearing back surgery. I didn't do that research myself. I've just been hearing that a lot. I have to look into that more. But overall, man, I just think Hafez has him covered in most angles here. I mean, maybe Mickey Gall can, opportunistic. I don't think he gets the guillotine on Hafez, man. I don't think he does. Maybe like a rear naked choke if he can get the back. But I just have a hard time seeing. I think Basil is the better grappler of the two. I think he can get to takedowns, like, not like at will here, but relatively shouldn't be too hard to get Mickey Gall down. And then I think, so I played like that. So overall, I have was it 0.4 units on the KO plus 550. I wish I got on the first opener at like plus 700, plus 750 or something, but I was, like I said, I was away this past week. I was in Greece, so wasn't on the mark this week with some of the openers. Missed a few, some good numbers, but overall, man, I think Hafez, this line blew out. Got it at minus 285. Parlayed him up with Grant Dawson for 1.2 units. Also parlayed him up with Jailton Almeida for 1.2 units as well. Overall, man, like I said, not the most like passionate takes. I don't think Hafez is minus 300 over a lot of guys in the UFC, but this stylistic matchup, I just have a hard time seeing if Mickey Gall, if this extends out of round one, I just think this is Hafez all day. And then even in round one, I think Hafez can crack him, on the feet. I don't love Mickey Gall's chin. And I think on the ground, man, the ground and pound's live, the submission's live. Give me Hafez ITD here as well. Next fight up, we got Alex Morono and Niko Price. Honestly, I think there's value on Niko Price. I'm not going to get there myself because I do think he's shot. I mean, his knees are gone. Guy doesn't really have the greatest movement in there. And then on the Morono side, I don't think he had. I mean, look, like I said it in the Court McGee fight, like you don't want to lay Morono this kind of numbers. Like, he never covers that price tag. That was a very sweaty fight. Like, there is an argument, like like a certain judge could have scored that even for Court McGee there. Overall in this fight, I do think this is violence. I know Morono is not some great finisher. He doesn't have like the craziest power, but he hurts people, and we saw in their first fight how it played out. Like, Niko Price is the kind of guy that is gonna sit down, willing to trade, and either will find that crazy meme knockout or like get finished himself. So I like violence here. I played under 2.5, minus 130. Overall, at the time I was going to go Fight Doesn't Go because I do think the late finish could even be live, but Fight Doesn't Go was minus 200 at like open. So I'm like, you know what, let me just hit the under 2.5. I feel like that was giving too much equity to like the last 2.5 minutes there. So yeah, I wouldn't parlay Morono. I think he wins this here, but I don't think Morono, like I said, man, minus 250 Morono. He's also looking kind of washed. He's also kind of slowing down. I mean, he's got that hoppy little weird striking style, but he's had a lot of favorable matchups, and he has another one here. So probably Morono, but just for me, the under. Next fight up is Jake Matthews and Phil Rowe. So I really want to get to Matthews here. I don't think Phil Rowe, other than being lanky and having a good right hand, is that skilled. I mean, fight IQ, the Neil Magny fight, that was an absolutely like weird, brutal performance. Like, I don't know why you're trying to engage in the clinch with Magny. Like, it doesn't make sense. And Magny at this point is, kind of a shell of himself. I mean, he's still winning fights, but I don't, come on now. So overall, I think Jake Matthews is going to be the much better minute winner here. It's pretty clear. Phil Rowe has never won a decision in his entire career. He typically, he lost minutes to Jason Witt. Like, I also just don't rate, Jake Matthews didn't have many good wins. That Fiala performance was, like, impressive at the time, but it didn't age well in hindsight. Yeah, overall, man, like, the wins for Orton Koske, Niko Price, Jason Witt, Leon Shabazian, like, Phil Rowe, his wins are pretty brutal. And then overall in this fight, though, I'm a bit worried. I just hate that semi-performance for Jake Matthews. Like, I know when he was younger, he had some flaky moments, but I do think he has improved since his, like, earlier career. But in that semi-fight, man, just why aren't you, like, pushing a crazy, like, grappling pace or just trying to at least wrestle like semi there a bit more? It doesn't make sense to me as you're getting, like, lit up on the feet, got knocked down, like, every round there. This is a bad look there. So overall, I lean Jake Matthews here. Maybe, like, if I do get to it, maybe I'll parlay it with something. I don't want to lay. It means I shouldn't even bet it. If I'm saying I should parlay to get the number down, I probably should just stay away. But I just feel like Jake Matthews minus 160, it's scary sometimes, even though I don't give Phil Rowe much equity here out of possible, like, the knockout. Next fight up is Grant Dawson and Joe Solecki. Do have a bet here on Grant Dawson, like I mentioned, 1.2 units on him and Basil Hafez. Got in around, what was it, minus 330-ish? I mean, this line absolutely blew up, like minus 600. Is it any books doing that? Okay, minus 550, minus 570. That's getting wide. I mean, I don't think... The issue with Solecki here is he's so willing to accept bottom, and I just don't... If he doesn't submit, like, the same as a Mickey Gall, man. Like, if he doesn't get a submission in round one, the fight's probably like a wash. Like, he slows down a ton. Even when in fights where he's, like, finding success, like, Solecki he slows a ton. And I know people talk about the Ricky Glenn performance for Dawson there, but he was not himself for that camp. He was sick. There's a lot of things going into that, and he still, performed great until the last 2-3 minutes and kind of shit the bed there. So maybe Solecki can get something opportunistic in round one. So yeah, if you are heavy on Dawson here, just play that. Play a little, Solecki round one submission. What's the number at? Honestly, like, it's probably value if we're talking, because I don't think Dawson's minus 600 here. But what's round one Solecki submission? Honestly, just go to round one in general. Yeah, plus 1,200, and it's probably going to be better on some other books. So overall, I think this is a Dawson spot. I just don't see many paths for Solecki outside of that round one sub. So I also have round three Dawson plus 900. Pretty system play as it gets. Dawson finds most of his finishes late. They're kind of attritional, wears guys down. I do think both KO and sub are live, but if you want to pick one, if you have a lean that way, like, you get a better number on it. I'm just cool with the plus 900 there on round three. Next fight up, we got Almeida, Kopylov. Very excited for this one, man. So early on, so I have a bet on Almeida here. Got him at plus 100. Was kind of eyeing him at Running Wee Sim plus 115, 110, and just missed it. And woke up and I'm like, shit, we just got to get any plus money we could on Almeida. So at first glance, when this was first announced, I was thinking Roman Kopylov was going to be the side, but after tape, so just to give a little background on Almeida, I bet him on Contender Series at decent. It was like plus 195 I got there on Contender, plus 200-ish. And then in his debut, I bet Butka plus 110 early on in the cycle there. I just thought that Butka with the theoretical wrestling upside probably should have been a slight favorite. And then as that line grew and, like, even progressed, like I said in the Discord as well, like, Almeida was the side when he was, like, big plus money. I just thought plus money in that matchup was what I wanted to be on. So overall, this fight in particular, I do think Kopylov's going to be the faster fighter. I mean, the speed of his kicks is absurd, man. Absolutely love. Even, like, I think people give like too much slander on, like, Kopylov's hands. His hands are pretty quick too. Obviously this guy is, finishing a lot of people, mostly round 2, round 3. But the thing about Kopylov, and we've seen in a couple of his fights, man, the hands on the hip late. Was that against Punahi? I haven't taped some of his fights. So for this one, I taped Roberson again. I just try to watch more kickboxing like matchups for this in general for Kopylov. It's just a tough, I think if you're giving Almeida a striking fight, where Almeida's a little plodding, but I think he's going to have, the better hands here. I think Kopylov doesn't take leg kicks well. And that's, look, I think Almeida doesn't switch stance enough to probably utilize it effectively as, like, I would hope for here. But overall, I do think the leg kicks are there. And then the big one for me was watching that Ribeiro fight back. And I just don't like the visuals of Kopylov getting pushed against the fence late round 1 there. And Ribeiro just, like, man, if that's somebody else, man, he's probably getting, like, knocked out or finished there. I just don't love some things on the Kopylov tape. Obviously, I can't really say the fluffy performance. That's kind of expected when, it's a tough matchup, and that would be a terrible matchup for Almeida too. Like, Fluffy would probably, also do the same. So this fight, though, I think Almeida is the better striker. It's close. It's close. Like, I don't know if Almeida gets to, like, what is he at now? Minus 120. You know, if they gets any wider, yeah, maybe you can start talking maybe value on, like, Kopylov if you're getting plus 125 or something. But right now, man, I think Almeida was the side of plus money. And I'm going to like my bet. So we got 1 unit down there. Maybe it gets to the KO plus 250. But for now, I'm just going to stick with that money line for 1 unit. Next fight up, we got Easy Dos Santos versus Randy Brown. This is a fight that I haven't tipped anything out yet, but I'm gonna be on Zeleski here. It's just, if Randy Brown doesn't spark him in the first few minutes, I just think there's a lot of upside in Dos Santos down the stretch here, whether that be 2-3 props, whether that be, a live entry on the money line, whether that be just, playing his KO. Like, I'm really eyeing the plus 3.5, the finish. I think there's a lot of angles here that I think are value for Dos Santos. And this is a guy that, I'll be honest, I'm a little biased. I have been betting him in plus money these last 2 fights. It didn't work out against Renat, but just a great performance there. The only worry with Zeleski, like I mentioned, is that I think Randy Brown early is just the speed. There's going to be a pretty big speed gap here, the footwork. But Randy Brown, I think, is fragile. And what I just can't get over, I backed him very big against Wellington Turman. And that performance, how are you not separating against, like, Wellington Turman? I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. I think the leg kicks, like I mentioned, I think I see Randy Brown hurt and knocked out before, man. I've seen it a few times. And Dos Santos is going to be juiced. He's going to be so juiced up. I think just even if this does go the full 15, like I mentioned, I don't think Randy Brown separates enough to justify minus 175, whatever the hell he's at right now. And then for I just think the sounds and the visuals, even for Zeleski, he could win like a close decision here. Overall, like I said, I haven't tipped anything out here because the line's going like in the other direction, but I think there is a lot of value on Easy Dos Santos. Probably get on those late props as well. Next fight up is Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. I do have a bet here on Jailton. I parlayed him up with Basil Hafez. I am going to be playing some Jailton ITD. I'm thinking about the 2-3 as well. I do think there's value there. I just worry that he gets it done in round 1. I don't use the word fraud. I don't think I've ever said the word fraud, and I've done like 13 videos on here, whatever, something like that, 10 videos, I don't even know, but I've never said the word fraud before. I called Alexander Romanov being a fraud after the Chase Sherman performance or right around that time because I'm like, this guy is the biggest UFC favorite in history. Like, are we serious? And I played Tybura pretty big there in that next fight, was very happy with the result, but I just don't think, look, Romanov is a great front runner. I just think we've seen it now. This guy does not have good cardio. If faces any adversity, he does not take it well. And overall in this matchup, I just think that Jailton can get him down. He can get him down early, often. I don't think he has to shoot 12 takedowns like he did against Curtis Blades. It may just take 2, maybe even 1. But for Romanov here, if he would offensively wrestle early, I think that's his path. But I think he, at this point, just watching his last performance against, what's his fucking name, man? Watching his performance against, Blagoy, watching him not shoot, was it 1 takedown in round 1? I think he is scared to gas, and if he fails a takedown here, we saw it against Volkov, man. This guy gassed out so quick, kind of just quits in there. And then you look at like Jailton, I get that the Blades performance. Look, Blades is about to fight for a title. I'm not going to go too deep here, man. I was waiting for weigh-ins to confirm Romanov's shape that he's in for this, but the pictures are starting to go around now of his photos. So maybe I should get my ITD in now. But I'll probably be heavy. I'll probably be very heavy on this position by fight day. Next up, we got Kevin Holland and Michal Jacek. I think, okay, so I'm playing probably some Holland ITD here. I think the submission line is, look, I think it's probably a submission, but what was Tim Mean's submission? Plus 800, and then Michael Chiesa was plus 600. Like, so now we're paying like pretty absurd premiums to get Holland sub here, but I get why. Like, Michal is been submitted 5 times or 4. Either way, this guy, the club and sub is live. I think in terms of money line value, I wouldn't play Holland minus 280. Like, I can't get there. Even though stylistically this is a great matchup for him, Michal is going to come forward, and I don't think Holland takes the pressure that well, but he has enough tools and he's dangerous and close to, I think, Michal, his recoverability is good, but he can get hurt, and then he usually gets submitted right after. So money line side, I don't think, I think there, it's probably value on Lord Michael here. Just the worry is, and this is why I faded him like in his last fight in Atlantic City with Michel Pereira. Who's he training with? Like, I'm not going to get too deep into it. I'm sure it's been talked about enough this week, but like, there's a ton of question marks there. And, it's just technically a pretty good matchup for Holland, the best one he's had in a couple fights. So, yeah, I think Holland inside the distance here, probably round 1, round 2. So I may shop around some early props here. We'll see. Next fight up, we got Paulo Costa and Sean Strickland. I bet Strickland at open here. I got 2 units down at like, wasn't even open, maybe like a day or two after, like minus 215. The more I've thought about this like over months now, I mean, yes, there's a world where Paulo clips him early or gets that spinning wheel kick. I just think his power is overrated. When's this guy's last knockout? I bet Paulo Costa over Robert Whittaker, but Robert Whittaker, I think his durability is going, and I do think his chin is going, and he's on the decline. Sean Strickland is coming off a split decision with Dricus du Plessis, the current middleweight champion. Before that, he walked down and boxed up Izzy for 5 rounds. So, what is this Sean Strickland like? I don't know. I've heard some shit this week, and I just disagree with that. I think Strickland is a much better minute winner here. If he doesn't get hurt early, or if Paulo Costa, look, I think Costa can wrestle Strickland, and that will tire him out, but that's going to tire Paulo out. And I know Rockhold Performance was at like a pretty high elevation in Colorado, like 8,000 feet, but I don't love Paulo over 25 minutes. I don't think he can put together great minutes in round 3, 4, 5. So pre-fight money line, I know it's tough to get to Strickland. What is it, minus 250 right now? But yeah, I played 215, and even there, maybe I could have just waited around to hopefully get, Strickland at a better number. But I'll be honest, man, like, I get the Paulo takes, but if you really like Costa, like, for him to win the decision here, he's probably going to have to hurt Strickland, like, multiple times in this fight, which I just think is low percentage. I think it's low percentage. I don't think Strickland, he's not some great power puncher, but he's going to double up Paulo to the head here. He's going to jab him up all fight. I think he can stay defensive. He's seen looks like this before. He's performed at this price tag before a lot. I like Strickland here, man. I even got a little bit on that. I played the opener on the decision prop. My bad for not tipping that one out, man. That line, I didn't think the line was going to come in that much. Like, don't love that at, what was it, plus 140 I'm seeing on some books. I got it like a little over plus 200. But overall, man, I like Strickland here. Give me Strickland by decision. Finally, guys, main event time. We got Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. I really wanted to play Dustin money line, and like I said, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be rooting for him. I hope I lose my. Well, actually, so I bet. I'll tell you what I bet here. I bet fight ends by sub. At the time, the best book I had available on Islam sub was minus 113, and they were offering minus 114 fight ends by sub. So I'll be rooting for like Dustin guillotine. Fucking Islam sub. I'm rooting for the guillotine. It's not gonna happen. I think Dustin's hips are gone. It's my same breakdown with the BSD fight. Like, I played BSD minus 130. Didn't, like, as I mentioned, like, when the line hit minus, what was it, 230, when I did my breakdowns, I was a bit wide for that matchup, and then you add in the staph infection. But overall, I think Islam can get Dustin down at a pretty significant clip here early. And look, if he fights relatively smart, I think, he'll look 85, 90%. That's why I'm not like playing. I wouldn't play this money line. Like, I don't think there's value parlaying up minus 640, 700 here in a title fight. But I think this is it's an easier stylistic matchup, and I think than Volkanovski. And I know Volk knocked him down, so that's like kind of the thing that like I'm gonna be rooting for, and why I would be scared to play Islam money line. Like, look, Dustin can knock out anyone, but that's if Islam even gives him the chance here. Like, if this plays out at distance or in boxing range, sure. Like, but I think Islam, the grappling upside here, I think is massive. Dustin gave his back up confidently against BSD. You can't do that here. You can't pull a guillotine here. I think this is an Islam spot, and I hate to say it. I'm be rooting for Dustin, but, I think it's Islam ITD. I think the unders are good here. If you like Dustin too, man, like under 3.5, what's it at right now? It's probably a little chalky. But, man, under 3.5 is at 275. Okay, maybe it's not great, maybe a parlay piece, but I think violence here, either side. I'm going to be rooting for Dustin, but I think it's the Islam spot. So, like I said, I got fight ends by sub minus 114 for a unit. And then I threw Islam. I have an ITD parlay. It's, who is it? We got Islam ITD, Jailton ITD, Basil Hafez ITD, Holland ITD. It's like plus, I don't know, 870, I think, or you could probably even get better on some books. But played that for like 0.15 units too. And I'll probably put a couple long shots out this week, so I'll be there in person. But overall, man, that's the full card breakdown for UFC 302. If you like the video, guys, please like, subscribe, and let's make some money this weekend.